I'm Dave Mastovich. I'm with Eugene Smit, and we're going to have a real chat talking about growth. So, Eugene Smit is with the Van Smith. Got a lot to unpack and go over with that. It's a company that builds these adventure vans, but he's also got this tremendous background of all kinds of creative management, leadership, and growth opportunities that he's taken advantage of and companies he's built and driven. And so, Eugene, thanks for being on and talking with me today.
Thanks, Dave. Good to be here.
Let's jump right into it. We'll start at the end, but then we're going to come back and go to the beginning. Tell everybody what the Van Smith is, because I find it so intriguing, and I think it's got just such a great opportunity to continually grow.
Yeah, Dave. So, so the Van Smith is, as you said, we build outdoor adventure vans. So, what the industry generally calls Class B vans. So, build on transit and sprinter vans. Most of the vehicles we build on are all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. These vehicles are generally fully off-road capable. So if you're the type of person that wants to have an outdoor adventure base right next to the lake or at the bottom of the of the climbing wall, I guess climbing face, these vans are for you. We have seen a lot of experience in the space where people don't want the very big RVs, and at the other end of the scale want a little bit of a step up of the inconveniences of camping in a tent, and we kind of play in that space. Um,
Well, tell me a little bit about. I got like three or four quick questions that are rapid fire. The first is, tell me how the business started and how you got involved.
Okay, so so the business started in 2018, and it was two family members that got together. One guy was a marketing guru, and the other guy was more technically minded. And the two of them kind of got together and said, "Listen, what's something cool that we can do that we can kind of bring our collective skills into?" Um, and they grew the company. Obviously, this space had an enormous tailwind through the COVID years. Everybody wanted to get out. Everybody
Mhm.
wanted to be able to get out in a way that's comfortable, but still have a lot of space around them. And so the industry saw a massive expansion during that space. And then consequently also saw good contraction post that. And, it was kind of just post that contraction where the company said, listen, we do need to pivot. We need to figure out what we're going to do with the company. And, I was looking for something to do at the time. I I spent about 26 years with McKinsey and Company, and I thought maybe I should try try my hand, step in from coach to player a little bit. And this looked like a fun company to roll up sleeves in. I got some experience with with manufacturing, not so much on the marketing side. So I had to go through an enormous growth curve over the last 2 years as we really kind of reset the full marketing strategy for this company and kind of drove some meaningful growth. So
Well, I think you mentioned to me when we first started talking about how you got the engineering background, then the McKinsey background. So obviously process driven, high degree of intelligence. I love to hear when someone then jumps into marketing and applies their life experiences to it. So tell me about that massive growth in marketing that you did and how much you learned and how you tried things that did work and tried things that didn't in those first few years.
yeah, so I would say we like for the first year we stumbled around a little bit. We there was a marketing plan. I would not really say it was a thorough marketing strategy. We did a bunch of things. We went to shows, we put out our product. We we have a brand that we like. We spend a huge amount of money on Instagram. There's a lot of clickbait out there, and we did okay. But there were also real downtimes. Seasonal business, and we our growth wasn't strong enough that it would really carry us through the down cycles. And so there were some times where we really struggled. And so over the last year or so, we took a much more meticulous approach to especially digital marketing. Doubling down on SEO, doubling down on kind of on online advertising, and being a lot more thoughtful about how we go out to the market. in addition to once we started getting the eyeballs, once we started getting the traffic, we also weren't converting at a rate that we needed to. So we also needed to rethink our value proposition, and how we position our value proposition in the market, especially compared to our position. And so once we got all of those links in the chain working, we got a decent foundation. And so we saw growth starting to pick up. We're building this year, we're building almost double the number of vans that we built last year. So we're seeing that momentum come through. And then, since we've had that foundation, it really has been doubling down on AI, right? And I'm probably preaching to the choir here on that topic. But the way we think about AI, and it is, tying back to your point about engineering, it is a little bit bringing the engineering discipline to that, SEO, the Google search engine, the crawler, you need to be technically buttoned up on all your details on your website. And that feels almost more of an engineering task than a marketing task, because you got to be meticulous, you got to be exact, you got to be on
Hmm.
point with all of those things. And things like AI can help you accelerate those things and check your homework and double
Hmm.
check things that you're
Hmm.
doing. Yeah, and so that's just one example. I mean, we use AI all over the place at this stage. Obviously everybody is familiar with like content creation. That's kind of where we started. Content creation is an important piece. We also have had our challenges with hallucination and content that's off key. So needing to manage and figure all of that stuff out. A big piece that we've been working on is AI automation. So figuring out which workflows are going to help you be meticulous in all these various pieces. That's been a big piece for us. AI receptionists and those things. In fact, I was just told 10 minutes before I got onto this call that our new chatbot is going live. So we got an AI-driven chatbot that's going to help us be kind of first level of defense with our customers to take that first set of questions and help folks answer at least that first level of questions that many people have, but don't necessarily need a person, because those first level of questions are often, kind of the easier ones to get through. Yeah. So
So you now have me completely excited. I've got so many things to address. So the first
yeah,
is I
yeah.
want my audience to hear the phrase that
Yes.
you said. We did all this stuff with the plan and the system, and we doubled sales. So that's the most important thing, because what I talk about is when people feel their marketing isn't driving the sales growth they want, that's when
Yeah.
they get to hit the bullshit button and they have to do no bullshit marketing. So you were doing that because you doubled sales. That's the most important thing. Then you got into a bunch of AI, which I want to come back to, but I want to circle back to the beginning when you said something that really hit home. You said we looked at our target market. And this is what I want to hear from you, because I have thoughts and biases of what I think your target market is. And I want to learn what it really is,
Yes.
because who is that ideal customer that says, I'm going to drop six figures because I go camping a lot, I do this, I do that. I know it's not just one person. Just talk about your
Yeah.
right fit target markets.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And I at least got a little bit of exposure to marketing at my many years at McKinsey, so at least I know what a persona is. So so we kind of target three different personas. The one, and most central to our narrative, is the outdoor adventure, right? I mean, this is kind of the mid-career individual that loves the outdoors, that would love to have a van to go out, to bike, to climb, to fish, to just enjoy the outdoors, right?
Hmm.
And that's really who we are. That's our culture. That's our ethos. That persona is most of our employees that work for us. Um, but that being said, there are really kind of two other personas that are super important to how we think about the company. And the one is what I would just describe near empty nesters, early retirees. people that have put in all of their hard work, ready to adventure, don't want extra seats for kids to come with them. It's all about, just just kind of you and me in a van, adventuring around the country. And the van needs to have the capability for us to do what we'd like to do. We don't want the bad fuel economy of a massive RV. But we do want the luxuries of like a shower and maybe a toilet, and a comfortable bed, right? So near retirees. And then I would say the third one is our young families. This is typically where you're installing extra seats for the kids, either one, two, or three additional kids, sleeping arrangements for everybody, typically putting a pop top on top of the vehicle, so you've got a little bit more flexibility and space in the vehicle. These are hugely popular, but typically it is for younger kids. Once those teenagers and their stinky armpits and smelly shoes come along, you don't necessarily want to fit all of your teenagers in in a van that can be a smaller space. So
Mhm.
typically, families with older kids, either go RV or camping or do something else.
Mhm. So you've walked through some three personas which show that you're drilling down your target markets to find out who to go out and reach and influence and engage with. So now tell me, you touched on two things. You touched on fuel efficiency and you touched on the actual size and what's going on in there. Describe it to us. Not everyone has heard of the Van Smith, and people watching this video might not realize what's involved in it. So I open the door to the van. What do I see?
Yeah, so you open the door to the van. You've got a beautifully crafted, a tiny home inside the vehicle. Okay. We build everything with Baltic birch, marine quality Baltic birch, that looks beautiful. It's all natural products. We do cedar ceilings. We do we do what we call a Versa bed, which is a bed that's kind of near king size, so you can comfortably sleep in there, and it kind of folds out of the way during the day, so you've got a little bit more space. You've got your galley, you've got your fridge with all your food and your drinks. You've got upper cabinets, so you can store everything you need to store. You've got a big water tank, you've got a big electrical system, you've got a little stove top, you've got a sink. You've got some extra seats if you've got the model with the extra seats. And sometimes you actually want a full shower in there. So in some models, we actually build a full shower that, if you need to shower in the vehicle and you're willing to make the trade-off with space, we build that in for you.
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful tiny home on wheels. The battery normally lasts you a couple of days. So if you want to be out for the entire weekend, you have that luxury.
And you talked a little bit about people worried about the fuel economy and so forth. Talk about that. How's it, it's not getting only eight miles to the gallon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, these are we build on two platforms, the Ford Transit and the Mercedes Sprinter. And so your fuel economy is actually pretty remarkable with the level of efficiency that's built into those vehicles. So you're not paying the huge fuel bills that you would with RVs. And you're able to drive around and explore. And most of these vehicles are are the shorter vehicle is about 20 foot, the longer one's 22 foot. Shorter vehicle parks comfortably in a Walmart parking
Mhm.
spot. So,
Mhm.
you don't have the problem of needing to idle your RV somewhere on the road as as somebody in the family runs into the Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah, and even the larger one, if you pull it off to the side of the
Yes.
parking lot, you're going to be perfectly fine. Yeah.
No, I talk a lot about how significant voice of the customer feedback is, and also how it leads to testimonials. And so when you built these personas, did you do any of that while you were building, and how much of you do that with the current customers? How much do you stay in touch and leverage their stories?
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a number of video testimonials on our website that gives you a little bit of a sense of how passionate our customers are about our product. Our sales journey is a very involved one, Dave. Yeah, we always talk about the challenges we have with marketing attribution through our sales funnel, and it's just very difficult because, at the end of it, you ask somebody where they heard of us, and they can't tell you. They're like, "Well, I saw you at the show, but maybe I found you on the website," and it
Because
typically.
none of us buy linearly.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And there are many touch points with us before you'll buy from us because it's a big purchase and you want to be sure it's going to be it's you're working with the right partner. And so um and so why am I saying all of that? I'm saying all of that because through that process of, sometimes it's as quick as 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes it's as long as 6 months. We've even had customers that we've been talking to for a year before we ultimately kind of close the deal. We get to know them pretty well. And because we do, customization and custom design, we get to know their specific needs very well. So, we've got two service lines. The one, we pre-build vehicles and we sell those. And the other one, which is currently 80% of our volume, is we pre-sell the vehicle to a specific customer and then
Mhm.
customize it for them. So our learning is constant and ongoing and always. And so we're constantly refining, improving, understanding those customer needs deeply and helping fulfill those.
I love it. Everything you're talking about is ties to no bullshit marketing because you've
Yeah.
done the target market drill down, you've done the personas, you've done the insight gathering, you've done the ongoing conversations with customers. One of the big things that I talk about in my book, bestseller No Bullshit Marketing, is I talk a lot about referral source marketing because I believe if you're a professional service firm, and even McKinsey and Massolutions, we meet people that connect us with other people. Physicians refer to other physicians. How much of that goes on where you have certain people that fall into centers of influence category or referral source category?
Yeah, I would say maybe 5 or 10% of our sales are from referrals.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's slightly different in our business is, we are dealing with small, high dollar items, small volume, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't done the count recently, but I would imagine we're probably in the hundreds of customers or that we're still in the hundreds of customers that we have served over the last 8 years, right? And so while people are passionate about us, hundreds is still in the marketing world, it's still, not enormous. I mean,
Right.
I think we got like, in the tens of thousands of people on our website on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so hundreds don't really move the needle for us, especially in an industry that, there are no repeat sales, right? Seldomly there are repeat sales, but in most cases, you're buying a van once. It's not like buying a bar of soap every couple of weeks, right? So, yeah, so it's
Well,
like, yeah.
so we've covered a lot of ground, and I like to keep these as brief as I can. So we've covered the whole spectrum of marketing and the great things you're doing on marketing. You talked about AI. If there's one tip you could give, and just take your time to ponder it, I'll even stretch my question out a while. If you can give one tip, whether it's based on something on AI or something that you do with your clients or something you do with SEO, what's one tip you'd give to somebody out there who's like you and I, passionate about using marketing to drive sales growth?
Yeah, Dave, it's funny that you asked the question because I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days. What is the magic? What is like what advice? If I were McKinsey and I would be pitching somebody on this topic, what's the one piece of advice I would give for them? And the thing as we've gotten into this kind of AI marketing journey, I have been so impressed by the level of insight and capability that can be garnered from these LLM models, ChatGPT and Claude and everything else. And I think our bottleneck has been our own curiosity, right? My advice is to anybody getting into the space, you got to have questions, and your questions should not stop. Because the more I ask questions, the more questions I have, and the deeper I get into a topic, the more capable and the better the answer is going to be. So, anybody that's getting into this, the rapid learning curve And what's making learning so much easier is just you've got ready-made answers for 95% of all your questions from a near expert that can help you just go deeper, further, faster. And I just know there are going to be winners and losers in the space. And people that are able to stay curious, stay sharp, continue to figure things out, get deeper into topics, fine tune, make it even better. That's going to be a prerequisite to actually winning in the space. So
I love it. That's great advice from Eugene Smit of the Van Smith. Eugene, thanks for being with me on Real Chats with Dave. If your marketing isn't driving the sales growth that you want, call me. We'll figure it out together. No bullshit, just sales growth.